A lot of thoughts go through our heads as we listen to the testimony provided today, and it's a complicated issue. I get that. So I'll start with Mr. Connor. As the Assistant Secretary for Civil Works, you oversee the Army Corps of Engineers, which owns and operates Lower Snake River Dam and more than 700 dams across the country. Do you agree that the Army Corps' dams serve a wide range of benefits, including flood control, irrigation, navigation, and clean power production?
Absolutely.
Were you involved in this secret negotiation led by CEQ to dismantle the Lower Snake River dams?
I was certainly involved in negotiating with the parties and participating in a whole of government discussion to come up with a federal position, yes.
Okay. The Army Corps has been a longtime supporter of the Lower Snake River dams and the value they serve to the nation as a whole. Does this MOU change Army policy with respect to the dams?
This MOU does not change Army policy. We are continuing to operate those facilities to carry out their authorized purposes. We are doing that and making adjustments so that we improve the conditions for native and indigenous fish.
The Army Corps' website states that the Lower Snake River system of locks and dams deliver a significant economic benefit to the nation. Barging on the Columbia Snake River system moves, on average, approximately 10 million tons of cargo valued at over $3 billion each year. 40% of the nation's wheat transits through the system. Do you agree with that statement?
I do.
Will this secret MOU have any immediate effect on the Army Corps facilities operations on the Snake River?
We are making adjustments to operations of our facilities, how we move water through them so that they can better serve the needs of the fisheries while we are continuing to produce hydropower as well as carry out our navigation mission.
What percent does it set for other dams like what precedent rather does it set for other dams like the Army Corps dams on Savannah River?
Every dam situation, the operations of the carrying out the purposes of the authorization of those facilities or any discussions that exist amongst the 2,000 dams that have been removed in this country since the early 1900s, all of those are very fact-specific circumstances that involve the stakeholders that are associated with those facilities. So I'd say this activity, the discussions that we're having with stakeholders in the Pacific Northwest on the Snake River dams doesn't have precedent for any other facilities.
So I've witnessed in my tenure in Congress, even before that, the management of the Savannah River Lakes water levels have been managed for downstream flow because of a non-indigenous species of sturgeon. So the lake levels have to go down. I think this sets a bad precedent that there is a potential down the road for the Savannah River Lakes dams to be removed for a non-indigenous species. Is that a real possibility based on this precedent?
Oh, I don't think based on this precedent. I think, once again, the situations that exist at Savannah River, and I am not as familiar with those facilities. I should be more familiar with them, Chair Duncan. I don't think the issues of operations, et cetera, will be dealt with those communities, with the state, with stakeholders in that particular situation. And I haven't heard anything about dam removal being a necessity there.
Those are just thoughts that go through my head. Only Congress can authorize the removal of the federal dams. Does the Army Corps plan to limit hydropower production on the Snake River or Army Corps dams on the Savannah River in any way?
No intention to reduce hydropower production. We are going to operate those facilities consistent with multiple purposes. Those have impact. You know, how we operate for power production impacts navigation, impacts fisheries. We try and adjust and optimize all of those purposes.
Thank you for that. I'll go to Mr. Ballman. I was deeply troubled to learn that the CEQ intervened in a lawsuit brought by an environmental activist and entered into a secret negotiation with a small group of special interest groups. This MOU makes commitments on behalf of the entire U.S. government using taxpayer money that Congress appropriated for other uses. The MOU commits DOE to pay for clean, renewable, socially just energy resources to offset 1,000 to 3,000 megawatts that would be lost if the Snake River dams were breached. What statutory authority are you relying on to earmark funding for to these four tribes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The commitment in the that is described in there is to provide the technical assistance to help the tribes with the planning and development of energy projects. We don't make any commitments to fund specific projects because we can't vary from the competitive rules that apply to virtually all DOE funding. So the agreement's not actually committing to specifically fund any number of energy projects. DOE also doesn't have the authority to actually go out and sort of develop and fund the final project development phase.
What type of resources did DOE plan to build?
The resources that will be used here are the technical assistance resources that we use for a variety of private sector, tribal, state, and city stakeholders who are seeking our assistance on how to advance their energy projects.
Well, I'll say this, my time's about up, but it will be spent on weather-dependent solar panels, probably not 24/7 baseload energy production we provide currently with the hydroelectric dams. The last thing I'll say is that we have a republic, and states have a voice, are supposed to have a voice in these type things. Stakeholders that Chair Rogers mentioned earlier that weren't heard from in this should have a voice. We are their voices, and that's why I think this committee hearing is so important. The need for electricity generation in this country is growing as our nation continues to grow. To remove hydroelectric, clean energy sources like these dams at this time is wrong.